Hello, and welcome to this session on the topic of balance. In this session, we will see how to balance the inner and the outer. Let's start with the picture that we have in front of us, which is a tree. You might want to ask the students in terms of what they see. You will get several answers. I'm sure many of which will include the trunk, the branches, the leaves, the fruits, the flowers, and so on. And you might also get roots, but many more often than not, roots would not be part of the answer. And then you might want to ask, whether they see the roots. I mean, the answer is pretty obvious. It's a rhetorical question. Okay, that you don't see the roots. Then how do we know that they exist? And just explore this question a little further. What is the role that the roots play in the existence of the tree, and how strong the tree is, and so on. So, why are we discussing a tree when we're discussing the subject of balance? There are two parts to the tree. One is the seen and what we see visibly, and the other one is the unseen, which is the roots. They represent the two dimensions that our life has as well, the inner life and the outer life. If you take a seed and see how a seed sprouts into a sapling and into a plant, you will see that as the outer gets bigger and bigger, it's made possible by the depth and the extent to which the roots grow below the ground. This, the health of the tree is dependent on the health of the roots and how well the roots are nurtured with water, with nutrients, with manure perhaps, with fertilizer, and the richness of the soil itself. So this shows a symbiotic relationship between the root and the visible part of the tree. And as this sapling or plant starts growing bigger and bigger and perhaps finally into a tree, it is quite obvious that the bigger the tree gets, though we don't see it, it means that the roots grow deeper and deeper. In fact, botanists tell us that the roots often are much deeper and wider than the tree itself. Another aspect to consider is that for a tree to be big and strong and tall, the roots need to be strong and they need to run deep. The health of the tree depends on the health of the roots. And let us say, that I have a tree in my backyard and I want to make the tree grow bigger. Well, how do I do it? I cannot go and do anything to the branches or the leaves, the trunk. What I need to do is I need to take care of the soil. I need to take care of the roots by watering it daily, by preparing the ground, by adding fertilizers and so on. So we tend to the roots to make the tree grow. We cannot tend to the tree itself. So that's really how the inner and the outer, there's a symbiotic relationship. Now let's reflect on our own lives. How do we relate this example of the tree to our own lives? Tree in front of us. When we relate it to our lives, we have several goals. It might be material goals, it might have to do with job, it might have to do with position, promotion, family, buying a house, wealth, acquisitions, and so on and so forth. It can be many and it can grow larger with time. This, in many senses, is like the visible part of the tree, where our goals get bigger and bigger with time. If we pause to consider that in order to achieve these goals, in order to have this outer tree grow, the inner roots also need to be well developed to support and sustain the growth of the tree. And what are these roots in this case? These are what we call inner qualities or human character. What are we inside ourselves? What kind of person are we? And how can we develop those positive inner qualities and positive human character so that it can sustain and support a very large tree indeed? Why not? If it can be extremely successful, we should absolutely be. or we should at least attempt to be. But then we make that tree big by tending to the roots, which is our inner quality and character. When you have a storm or a cyclone, what happens? You see that several trees, sometimes very big and strong, they're not able to sustain it, they fall down. Why? Why is it that some trees fall down whereas other trees do not? Exactly. This has to do with the strength of the roots. When the roots are relatively weak and are not at the level at which they can support the size of the tree, any external storm will mean that the tree falls and the tree is dead. Whereas other trees, like the one you see on the right, some of them, particularly coconut trees I've seen, in very strong winds, they might bend over backwards, but then after the wind is gone, they stand up straight. They have deep roots and they're extremely flexible in order to weather any storm. Why are we talking about storms here? Why are we talking about cyclones? It's because we do not know what we're going to face tomorrow. We cannot see around the bend. Tomorrow might bring challenges in several ways. It might be health related issues, it might be money related issues, it can be relationship related issues. It can come in so many ways. One thing that is sure about life is that we will face challenges, and that's what life is about. So, how will we weather the storm? Will we be like the tree on the left, or will we be like the tree on the right? I believe that depends on how our roots are, the health of those roots, and what our inner qualities of the heart are. Share a story. There is this tree next to my house, and as soon as the tree grows, there's this lady, because the branches of the tree go into her balcony. She comes out and she just chops the tree, and she does this again and again. But the beauty is that when the stump is chopped, when the trunk is chopped, it remains like that for a week, and then after a week, there are some small shoots that come from that stump, and then it grows into branches, and in no time at all, perhaps 6 months, it's back into a tree again. And then this lady comes again and chops it down again, and it happens again. And this is something, it's a beautiful event that unfolds, okay, in front of me every 6 or 8 months. But again, this points to the other fact that even when the outer life, it might mean your house, it might mean your possession, it might mean everything, a job, a career, even when the whole thing is chopped off because of an unforeseen incident, when the roots are strong, we can start afresh all over again. Nothing outside can destroy us because there is absolute strength inside. And we perhaps will be like this stump, with very deep roots which are unseen, where we can start life all over again with heartfulness. We're talking about balancing the inner and the outer. How is it related to the subject of heartfulness? How do we develop these inner qualities, this inner character? And what do we mean by these qualities? We're talking about patience, tolerance, courage, inner strength, sincerity, purity, and perhaps love. These are the kind of qualities which will actually stand us in good stead every single day, irrespective of whatever work we do or whatever job we take up. People will look up to us because of these inner qualities, and that in turn will determine the success of our endeavors. So, we encourage everyone to just take a little time to invest in yourself. What is this investment? We're talking about taking a little time, perhaps a few minutes, okay, it might be 20, 30 minutes in the morning to do your meditation, because it helps you connect with your inner selves. It helps you develop positive inner qualities in the heart. And again, at the end of your day's routine, just take a few minutes, again 15 or 20 minutes, to do your cleaning, to do the rejuvenation practice, which helps remove all the emotional impact that the day might have had on you. It might be anger, emotion, whatever emotion, just let it go so that we feel light, we feel unburdened, and Both these aspects, meditation and cleaning, it helps us tend to our roots, develop our inner qualities, and helps build our character, which will definitely bring outer success as well. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.